The film opens at Pineway Summer Camp. We see the two camp managers, John and Kathy, relaxing by the lake. Everything seems perfect until they run out of beer. And if horror movies ever teach us anything, it's never go for beer alone. Kathy ignored that unwritten rule. She returned with a crate of beer. But what awaited her was a horrifying sight: a guitar shoved straight into John's mouth. Terrified, Kathy ran, jumped into her car, and locked the doors. But instead of starting the engine and escaping, she froze. The killer was already inside the car. Without a word, he plunged a knife through the seat, impaling her head, killing her instantly. The killer wore a demon mask. And where do demons live? In hell. This isn't just a summer camp, this is hell itself. Pineway Summer Camp will officially open in 2 days when the children arrive. But tomorrow the counselors will arrive early to prepare. And for them, this summer is about to become a nightmare. The next day, 11 counselors arrived one after another. All grown-up campers returning to lead. Their names were Jason, Mike, Claire, Shannon, Ezra, Miley, Noel, Demi, Ari, Bobby, and Chris. Jason was the oldest, 24 years old, yet instead of building a future, he returned to camp every year. Everyone mocked him about it. This time, his mother even drove him there while the others came alone. Last year, the teasing affected Jason so much that he swore he would never return. Yet he was still here because John and Kathy invited him. Or perhaps he just needed an excuse. The truth was, Jason never knew how to plan for the future. He clung to the old memories of summer camp, refusing to let go. No close friends, no connection, no one really talks to him. Not even Claire, his ex-girlfriend. Jason's childishness used to be endearing. But now it's just pathetic. While everyone else has grown up and moved on, Jason remains stuck in the same place. The most prominent among them is Demi, an influencer. As soon as she arrives at the camp, she immediately turns Jason into her errand boy. Once she's finished filming her vlog and doesn't need him anymore. Ari, a young man with dreams of becoming a screenwriter, is happily sharing his script with Shannon when two rich kids, Bobby and Chris, interrupt him. Shannon clearly has feelings for Chris, and Chris feels the same way. But neither will admit it. A strange connection exists between Chris and Bobby. Bobby's former stepfather is now Chris's stepfather. Meanwhile, Jason tries to fit in. But everywhere he goes he hears the same question: "You're back? I thought you ran away?" Jason laughed it off, saying he'd only come because they'd called. But the hurt still lingered inside. When he saw Claire again, she briefly mentioned having a new boyfriend, but that they'd broken up 3 weeks ago. And that was the main reason she'd returned to camp this year. If they hadn't broken up, she wouldn't have bothered coming here. Jason wanted to tell her something about his life, but he realized there was nothing to tell. His life was still at a standstill. Then he stopped by John and Kathy's office, but it was empty except for a note that read, "Urgent, we'll be back tomorrow morning. Please look after the camp." Jason read it and smiled. For the first time, he felt important. He thought he was being given a responsibility, but in reality, he had no idea what awaited him. Jason tried to impress everyone by sharing his thoughts, but no one paid him any attention. He talked and talked until the group quietly got up and left. Nevertheless, Jason completed his only task, collecting everyone's phones as per camp regulations. After Jason's short speech, the group settled into the rhythm of activity. Jason taught Claire archery, and in the meantime, he mentioned that John and Kathy had privately invited him back. But they weren't there. Jason believed this was a test to see if he was capable of managing the camp in their absence. Claire chuckled but didn't object. Jason, meanwhile, was convinced this was his chance to prove himself. Claire half-jokingly agreed with Jason's comment but didn't add any further comment. Meanwhile, everyone started splitting into pairs. Bobby's luck wasn't so good. He tried to impress Demi, but she was already dating Mike. Disappointed, Bobby left alone, and just then Jason approached. At first, Bobby didn't recognize him until Jason reminded him that they had both been at this camp for 8 years. And Jason's skills weren't bad either, having come second 4 times in the archery competition. Bobby was usually focused on flirting with girls, but even that wasn't very successful. After racking his brain, Bobby remembered Jason, then blurted out that Jason wasn't on the invitation list this year. At lunchtime, Bobby tried to shift his focus to Miley, thinking she was a vegan. He guessed that if he pretended to be a vegan, maybe Miley would notice him. But that plan completely failed. Around this time, we also learn that Ari has a nut allergy. If anyone eats anything with nuts near him, he immediately becomes tense and fearful. And then we return to the focal point of the night of horror. That night, Demi was alone in her cabin. The killer silently appeared behind her. He acted swiftly, leaving only splattered blood. In the kitchen, Miley was about to break her vegan diet to try a meat burger. But before she could do so, the killer appeared and decapitated her, satisfying his morbid hunger. Hearing the commotion, Mike rushed in to see what was happening. But he had no chance to defend himself. The killer took him down in an instant. Shortly after, Jason announced the assembly schedule for the next day. Since Demi wasn't there, he decided to go directly to her cabin. After repeatedly calling out without anyone answering, Jason entered without permission. He found Demi's bloodied body on the bed. Panicked, Jason screamed and ran around reporting that she was dead. But of course, no one believed him. They thought he was joking. Ezra even thought Jason was stealing the idea of a serial killer from his new script. Desperate, Jason tried to call the police only to find that all the phones were gone. The situation worsened. Finally, after being persuaded by Jason, the others rushed to Demi's cabin. But her body was gone. The bed was soaked in blood, undeniably confirming what Jason had seen. In a panic, the group rushed to the parking lot. But none of the cars were working. The killer had destroyed them all beforehand. With no other options, they huddled in a cabin and locked the door. Only then did they realize Miley and Mike were both missing. They needed to call for help, and their only hope was the landline phone in the main building. Jason volunteered to go alone, but Claire wouldn't let him. The group decided to add 2 more people to their group, Ari and Ezra. The 3 of them groped their way through the darkness to reach the main hall where the telephone was located. But upon arrival, they discovered everything was useless. The telephone lines had been cut. The only thing they hadn't expected was Miley's severed head in the refrigerator. The sight sent all 3 of them into a panic, scattering in all directions, with only Jason managing to reach the cabin safely. He quickly recounted everything to the others. They began waiting for Ari and Ezra to return. But time passed without a trace. The atmosphere in the cabin grew increasingly tense and desperate. That's when Noelle came up with a new idea, using a Ouija board to contact spirits. As a girl with a gothic mindset, she was fascinated by the occult and was eager to try it. The others, perhaps out of desperation, agreed to sit down with them, hoping to uncover the killer's identity this way. Noelle began summoning Ezra's spirit, first asking if he was dead. The Ouija pointer shifted and answered yes. She then asked who killed him. The answer was unknown. Noelle then tried to contact Demi's spirit, but before she could receive a reply, the cabin door burst open. The person who entered was none other than Ezra in flesh and blood. Noelle's summoning was immediately exposed. But before she could explain, Bobby, in a panic, sprayed bear repellent directly into Ezra's face, causing his eyes to swell up severely. Ezra was back, but what about Ari? Elsewhere, Ari was tied up by the killer. When he tried to break free, the killer stabbed him with a knife dipped in peanut butter, enough to trigger an allergic reaction that killed Ari. In seconds, he collapsed. The killer dragged his body away, leaving the horrific night far from over. Inside the cabin, Ezra immediately caused chaos by loudly declaring that the killer was none other than Jason. He argued that Jason had confiscated everyone's phones, was the first to spread the word about the killer, and had been isolating himself from the group all this time. Perhaps out of jealousy or resentment, Jason had targeted them one by one. These accusations quickly convinced the group that Jason was the culprit. They tied him up and began interrogating him. Jason's mouth was taped shut, rendering him unable to speak a word in his defense, because he refused to confess. The group went into the kitchen to find torture instruments. Only Bobby remained in the cabin, watching over Jason. This was the opportunity Claire had been waiting for, knocking him down and immediately untying Jason. Claire urged him to flee, knowing that in a moment, the panicked youths would turn into a mob ready to kill him without a trace. But Jason still wanted to go back. He knew the others would surely attack him, but he couldn't abandon them all. For Jason, even if they didn't consider him a friend, he still wanted to save them. Both of them walked into the darkness for a short distance before suddenly stopping. Before them lay the bodies of John and Kathy. That sight completely extinguished any hope that someone would come to rescue the summer camp. Staying meant death, but Jason still refused to leave. He urged Claire to keep moving while he turned back. In Jason's eyes, running away wasn't the answer. He decided to return, despite the danger, to save the survivors. As the group scattered in panic to retrieve their phones, that very moment of separation presented the perfect opportunity for the killer. Amidst the chaos, he lunged and killed Noelle. Not stopping there, after stabbing her, he prepared to crush her face with a rock. But at that very moment, another figure emerged from the shadows, also wearing an identical demonic mask. This appearance revealed a horrifying truth. There wasn't just one killer, but 2. The second, none other than Mike, stepped forward and coldly smashed Noel's head with the rock. In that instant, both killers were fully exposed, dispelling any remaining doubts in the camp. Demi and Mike, they were both part of their plan, their sole objective being notoriety. They wanted to become internet sensations by staging a massacre and then staging it so only 2 people survived. In their delusional minds, they believed it would garner millions of followers. Chris accidentally walked into a room and saw the 2 kissing. He was stunned, shocked because, according to the group's logic, they should have been dead long ago. The others were also surprised. But instead of suspicion, they felt relieved. To them, Jason was the real killer. Sensing this, Demi and Mike immediately devised a new plan, to blame everything on Jason, kill him, and then kill everyone else to ensure all the glory belonged to them. Following their plan, they filmed a video with others, fabricating a story that Jason had gone mad and was trying to kill the whole group. With the fabricated evidence in hand, they were ready to act. As soon as Jason returned to the camp, Mike ambushed and knocked him unconscious. The massacre began again. The first victim was Ezra. Mike broke his leg and then brought an axe down on his head. It was the most brutal murder in the entire story. Chris became the next target. To save his friend, Bobby risked his life, leading the killer on his way. Shannon seized the opportunity to sneak in and rescue Chris. As for Bobby, Mike caught up with him, and he nearly lost his life. But Claire came to his rescue. She was on her way to find Jason and appeared just in time. That moment helped them realize the truth. Mike and Demi were the real masterminds behind everything. Mike confronted them directly, while Demi was busy framing Jason. Claire rushed to Jason's rescue. As soon as she left, Mike grabbed Bobby again, leading to a fierce struggle. Bobby tried to fight back using the firewood from the fireplace. He mustered all his strength, unleashing a powerful fire within him. But it was no match for the burning wood. Overheated, Bobby threw it aside, setting the cabin ablaze. The 2 continued to struggle, and in a decisive moment, Bobby stabbed Mike in the neck, ending his insane dream of fame. But he also took a stab wound to the stomach. Meanwhile, Demi tried to convince Jason that if he cooperated with her, he would become even more famous than her. But Jason didn't care. Just then, Claire appeared, bow and arrow in hand. Thanks to her previous archery practice, Claire easily shot an arrow straight into Demi's eye. However, Demi didn't die immediately, forcing Claire to deliver another fatal kick. The cabin fire continued to rage. Jason rushed into the flames and pulled Bobby out. Bobby thanked Jason, trying to say his last words. But Jason insisted that Bobby's stab wound wasn't deep or dangerous, it just needed bandaging. Chris and Shannon also emerged. Surviving a terrifying night, the bond between Jason and Claire grew stronger. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.